Earlier, I showed you how to use templates to modify in After Effects. So I want to use the same template of the spider web to explain a concept called precomps. When you're working in After Effects, sometimes you want to overlay different effects. Say, for example, you have a city scene, and in the background you have some buildings, and you have some really angry clouds. You got a couple of birds flying around, and you may have some cars and maybe a subway train passing by. And then you want to put on top of that some superheroes fighting in the foreground. And in front of them, you want to put some street lamps and some cars and maybe a highway or something so that you have this parallax scrolling going on where you have all these different overlaying elements. Well, it would be pretty hard for your computer to handle all of that while you're working, because After Effects would have to keep track of every single one of those elements, all those layers, all those effects. So what a lot of people like to do is they like to do each chunk of that in something called a precomp, so that the buildings, the clouds, and the cars in the background are actually a composition in and of itself that is brought into another composition. Now, if you look at this, we see that we have all of these different layers. So if I wanted to add more to this composition, as I mentioned before, After Effects might start to chug. You'll notice that when I move my current time indicator, there's a lot going on here. But let's say I want to put something in front of this comp, some rain or some fog. Well, I don't want to see all these layers, and I don't want After Effects to have to calculate all this stuff. So I'm going to select all of these layers here by holding down the Shift key. Let me just grab the Shift key, grab some of these guys here, and grab this one. And now I'm going to go to the Layer menu, and I'll go all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to choose Pre-Compose. I can name this now Spiders, or whatever I want to. I'm going to leave everything as it is and click OK. Notice now in our project panel we have the spider web comp and the spiders comp. So what I could do is make a new composition and then call this one smoke. So I'd be able to make my mist and my smoke and then bring my spiders down here and then put my smoke comp in front of that one and then overlay all of these pre-comps instead of just having layer after layer after layer of different effects. The good news about pre-comps is that if you double click on it in the project panel, I still have all of my layers available, which means I can make changes to the comp, and then when I'm done, just return and I can continue to work. So you can always choose your comp from this list down here as well. So here's spider web, smoke, spiders, and I can simply continue to build a more and more complicated comp by using pre-comps instead of having tons and tons of layers to deal with.